Oh, there's Chris.
Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Hope you all had a lovely Monday night, and I did. Needed it, too. I had a rough NFL Sunday, went 2-0 last night. Not only 2-0, but both bets were looking shaky in like the third quarter, and both ended up edging them out. That Bucks team total over, I wouldn't say in garbage time, but damn close to it. Loved it. They ended up scoring another touchdown after that, so it wasn't even close. And then the Cardinals, that came down to the wire. I felt like the Chargers were significantly the better team for most of that football game. Came out on top there with Cardinals plus 1.5. You love it. Yeah, obviously we got 2 NBA games, 2 college football games here on Tuesday night. Before we get started, Matt, did you want to apologize to everyone?
Yeah, I apologize for absolutely nothing.
In case you weren't following Matt recently, he basically told everyone to screw off. Content's not important, betting's not important. It just disappeared for a couple weeks.
A couple weeks it was like 10 days, so not quite a couple weeks. I did give out 3 plays and all 3 hit, so I was staying fresh. It wasn't an everyday thing.
He was staying fresh. So he was staying fresh. All right.
See, there you go.
So obviously, like I said, NBA season is upon us. Just 2 games. I only have 1 bet down, but I'm excited. I'll be rooting for the Knicks, even though I didn't bet the Knicks. I'm assuming most of you watching probably already know what I'm on. I'm on the under, but I'll let these guys go first. I think both of you guys have bets on this, so whoever wants to take it away.
Go ahead, Moda.
All right, I'll go first. I have 2. I put a half unit on each, so just risking 1 unit total. Jalen Brunson, 30-plus points. Jalen Brunson, 3+ made 3-pointers. Going back to the tried and true of like pick-and-roll heavy guards that can pull up, generally have success against the Celtics. And it seems counterintuitive because they have 2 awesome guard defenders, but it's just the style of defense. It's the pick-and-roll drop coverage that they play. It doesn't matter that Porzingis is out. It could be Al Horford. It could be Sam Hauser. It could be anybody that they play at that center position. They just drop on the pick and roll, and they stick to shooters and they stick to the roll man. So people that can run a lot of pick and rolls and pull up have a lot of success. Like last year, Celtics allowed 2nd most above the break 3-point attempts, 6th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, 3rd most pull-up field goal attempts, and the most pull-up 3-point attempts allowed in the NBA last year. Same coaching staff, basically the same roster. That's not going to change. And Brunson, and I'm curious what you think being a Knicks fan, but I think he's still going to have an insanely high usage rate similar to last year. Like they added in Cat, but he's not going to, like he's a back to the basket. He can do a little bit off the bounce. And then you just swap out 3-and-D players in DiVincenzo and Mikal Bridges. Like I'm not expecting his ball handling duties to go down that much. Last year, he ran the 4th most pick and rolls per game in the NBA, attempted the most field goal attempts out of the pick and roll, and overall averaged the 3rd most points as the main pick and roll ball handler, averaged the 3rd most pull-up field goal attempts. And he doesn't pull up from 3 as much, which is why the over-under is 2.5 with the over at plus money. But he was like top 20. So it wasn't like he never did it. By far did it the most on the Knicks. Last year, hit 3 or more 3-pointers in 4 or 5 games. And he only hit the 30 number twice, which is why I wanted action on both. But both times he hit 30 were the last 2 games of the season when Brunson really found his stride. So, yeah, I think Brunson is set up for a big game. I put a half unit on both because I wanted action on both, but obviously they're correlated. So if one hits, the other one's more likely.
Right. Yeah, I don't expect Brunson's usage to change this year. I mean, I'm expecting to see a very similar offense, especially because down the stretch, Knicks offense is like 2nd or 3rd in efficiency after the All-Star break. I mean, whatever they were doing was working. I don't see any reason they change it. In fact, speaking from the point of view of a Knicks fan, so obviously this take comes through the lens of a Knicks fan, I felt, and I honestly think that objectively a lot of people would agree, I felt that if the Knicks were healthy going into the playoffs, that we could have competed with anybody in a 7-game series. I mean, we were just really banged up, and not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying as far as the perception of our team, of the Knicks, we felt we were as strong as anybody in the NBA. So going into this season, I don't see why we change anything offensively because whatever was doing was working. So, yeah, Brunson, a lot of pick and rolls last year. Don't expect to see a change there. Chris?
I got to go back and listen to your video, Kyle. I did not get a chance to do that. I saw when you posted it last night, but I just got to check that out because I just knew it was going to be Knicks in this spot. I thought the points.
No, I didn't take them. I didn't take them.
You know what? The play that you have is correlated with the play that I have here, Cal, and it's a way that both of us could win. It's a way that both of us, I guess, could lose, of course, as well. But I took the Knicks team total under. One, like let's just go through it. So Cat has been there for a total of 19. I think today is day number 20. So there's still a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of chemistry that needs to be built with him. The Knicks also lack a lot of depth. Precious Ochoa, newest person added to the injury report. He's going to be out a couple weeks with the hamstring injury. You got McBride off the bench, which I think is going to be like significant for you guys. I actually like his points prop to go up and over. But I'm not sure who else makes an impact outside of that, Kyle. And you've probably been following preseason. I know you've got your hand kind of dabbled into college football and a lot of other things going on, but there's some legit concerns for Josh Hart, who had 2 points in the preseason. And I know you've probably seen Mikal Bridges' new jump shot with that little hitch in it. Boy, it's not looking good. 2 for 19, 10% from the three-point line. I want no parts of this New York Knickerbocker offense right now. Boston returns, same lineup outside of Porzingis. They all know their roles. They all know their expectations. There's also the potential of Boston to have like a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because nobody really gave them any kind of time and attention. And kind of going back to what you said, Kyle, I agree with your narrative that, Boston had a very easy run throughout the playoffs last year. We go back and look at it. Every single team that they played against, there was a star player that was not a part of the team, right? Whether it was the Cleveland Cavaliers, they didn't even get the Knicks. They got the Pacers, without Halliburton and just so forth. So I just think that, the difference in this game is going to be, I do think the Knicks are going to stay in it. And that's why I didn't take the spread. But I think the Knicks are going to stay in it with their defense, not necessarily their offense. They got really good defenders. What Mikal Bridges can do, even if he has that hitch in his jump shot and shoot and can't make a three, he still can play defense and slow down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Same thing with OG Anunoby. We know the splits when he came over last year. So I just feel like it'll be more of a defensive game. I do lean full game under as well. I do think Boston could win this game by close to double digits if it gets out of hand. But I went team total under 108.5, I think was the number.
Yeah, I like that bet. And I agree with a lot of your concerns about the Knicks offense in this matchup. Something you didn't mention and was probably, I don't want to say the deciding factor, but it was like the nail in the coffin as far as making my decision. What was the backbone of this Knicks offense last year?
Offensive rebounding.
Bam. Offensive rebounding. They were the number one offensive rebounding team in the NBA last year. Their 4 leaders in offensive rebounding, Julius Randle, he's gone. Isaiah Hartenstein, gone. Mitchell Robinson, injured. Precious Achiuwa, injured. So the 4 leaders in offensive rebounding for the Knicks, they're not playing in this game. Now, Josh Hart, great offensive rebounder, and a lot of it is the way Thibodeau coaches. It's not like they're going to grab offensive rebounders just because the style of play. But I don't trust this Knicks offense at all without the offensive rebounding. And Boston is not a team that really pushes the tempo and gets on a transition much. So these missed Knicks shots are going to result in Celtics rebounding and Drew Holiday setting it up, which should slow the game down dramatically. So I don't like the matchup for the Knicks offensively in this one. But the reason I'm not laying with the Celtics, this new look Knicks defense is perfectly equipped to give Boston problems. What do the Celtics want to do? Launch threes. It's been the case for several years now. The Celtics launch an assload of three-point shots. Not only have the Knicks been a top perimeter defense under Thibodeau basically every year, but now you add Bridges there. There's so much defensive length with Anunoby and Bridges, and even Josh Hart's a real nice defender on the perimeter. The Knicks are just perfectly equipped. It's like we built this team to beat the Celtics, honestly. Our defense is perfectly equipped to give those Boston Celtics shooters problems. They're going to force the Celtics to drive to the basket and take contested layups, which they're more than capable of doing. But that's not the offense Boston wants to play. I think the Knicks defense will keep them in the game. Would love to bet the Knicks. Would love to bet the Knicks money line. I'll be rooting for the Knicks, but I think the smartest play here is to bet the under. I got it at 223.5. I think it dropped a little bit. What is it at now? 222, 220. All right, so it dropped a point. So it didn't drop dramatically. I thought I saw 221.5 last night. So yeah, I think the smartest play here is the under, and I did bet this. I have money down on this. So my first NBA bet of the year.
Too. Same.
All right, so me and Chris are in agreement. Modi is on Brunson. Next up, Minnesota, LA. Chris, go first. I'm curious because this one is kind of like I said Minnesota or pass last night, so I'm open to suggestions.
No, is Minnesota a pass for me too, Kyle? I didn't bet the actual side though. I took the team total over for the Timberwolves, and that's predicated on like I didn't want to lay points with Julius Randle, like him being newly, kind of trying to get acclimated. Same thing I said about in the last game about Karl Anthony Towns going to the Knicks. Like it's been 19 days and 12 hours since he's been acquired by this team. He only played in one preseason game. So I don't really like that as much. I just think that they are going to be able to score. You got JJ Redick, first year head coach. He's not like going in there, they're not doing a lot of defensive slides. The vibes are immaculate in LA because they're shooting a bunch of threes and trying to get out and run. JJ Redick is an offensive minded guy. And I do think the Timberwolves are primed to win this game. The one thing I look back at this game, Cal, when I was doing my handicap was just how the Lakers start and start games, right? I've always been someone that said that the Lakers, they don't really care about the regular season or the beginning of the season. And the older you get, the harder it is to get ready at the beginning of the season. Like Bron is like 74. Like it's gonna take him a while to get acclimated here. I really do think so. And the numbers back there, right? So I look at the Lakers, the last 20 games. So I took their last 10 games, the first 10 games of both of the last two seasons, right? So first 10 games last year, first 10 games 2 years ago, and they 7-13 straight up in those games, 5-15 against the number, right? 3-9 straight up, 4-8 against the number if they're a dog in that spot. And I do think that correlates with LeBron being a little bit older. You still got the injury to Jared Vanderbilt. Like whenever Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell on the floor, there's always going to be that negative because neither one of those guys can really guard. Like they're just out there for offense. So I do think the pace is going to be a little bit faster. Minnesota was, if you're taking away anything from preseason, Minnesota was third in pace. The Lakers finished fourth in pace last season, right? So I just think that we see points in this game. I don't want to lay points early in the season. Maybe the Lakers get up for this one, but I think Minnesota will be able to score. So I like the over. It's gone up just a tad bit, I think, from where the lines were this morning when I gave it out. But 110.5 is Minnesota team total, and I think both teams probably get there on the over. I think this total was 219.5, and it's up to like 221 or something like that. So I'll take Minnesota team total over here.
I like that, and I like what you said about Minnesota's pace in the preseason. I didn't know that, but when you said that, it reminded me. I remember we were doing a show last year and talking about how the Timberwolves in the second half of the year were running a much faster pace. In the beginning of the year, it was like D up, protect the basket, slow the game down, and then they sped it up in the second half. So if they're coming in the second half into the playoffs is when they played their best basketball. So if they're coming into this one planning on, hey, let's get out, let's run, score some points, makes a lot of sense. And you know what? That's the kind of game the Lakers have always wanted to play with LeBron there as well. So I do like the over. I like what you said. It kind of changed my mind a little bit, but I don't have a bet down on the game. The reason I had success betting on Lakers games last year, they were one of my more profitable teams betting on and against them. I feel like they're such a spot team because the Lakers' best fastball, they can play with anybody, but they also have a terrible fastball. So part of me looks at this like, opening night, LA, LeBron James has his son on the team. Like this is a quote unquote Lakers' best fastball spot, right? Like this is like, what the Lakers' best fastball is. They'll go out and beat Golden State and lose to the Hornets. That's this Lakers team. So this looks on the surface like a Lakers' best fastball spot to me. But at the same time, if there's maybe two or three teams that I don't even think the Lakers' best fastball can beat, and this might be one of them. This Minnesota team is so strong. So I
got DiVincenzo coming off the bench now, Kyle.
Yeah,
but they beat this team 3-3. They beat my Lakers 3 times in the 4 games that they played last season as well.
But I believe the Lakers were 3-1 against the number in those 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think
this one you just need to win though.
I know. I'm on Minnesota. I do. You know what I'm worried about? I think one of the most underrated players, I love Kyle Anderson. I love what he does with that second unit. He facilitates, he plays defense. I feel like he does it all, and I feel like doesn't really come up on the stat sheet, and I think his presence is going to be missed. So a little worried about Minnesota without Kyle Anderson. Having a guy you trust with a high basketball IQ in your second unit is huge. Ask the Knicks about Josh Hart. Like, it's huge. And I think he was a bigger part of that team than people realize. So I'm a little worried. I actually think that was It was a perfect pickup for Golden State. I think he was exactly what they needed. So I'm a little worried about that. I don't have any money down. I kind of like what you said about the over. I'm kind of considering tailing that team total over, to be honest. I think that's a good bet.
Kyle, you're not worried about Joe Ingles? I mean, you don't have confidence in slow Joe Ingles? Slow Joe?
Man, I don't want to turn this into a Joe Ingles bash session, but he wasn't looking too nimble last time I saw him out there on the court.
Yeah, he tears ACL like 3 years ago. I don't think he's been able to run since then.
He was already like a slower guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then like after the injury, it was like, oh, Joe. He's not very fast. Modi, what do you think about this one?
So I had one play that I took a DiVincenzo assist. I took him at 4+.
I'm sorry. Someone sent it in a super chat. Did someone send this in a super chat?
Yes.
Someone sent a super
Ronnie
chat.
under 0.5 points.
Under a half point. Oh, man. All right. Sorry, Modi. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I did see that and laughed. So DiVincenzo, I put a half unit on 4+ assists and a quarter unit on 5+ assists. This is one of those plays where you call your shot, and if it goes horribly wrong, you look like an idiot. But I do think that in a new role with DiVincenzo, 6-man, like Chris Finch has said he's the backup point guard. He played the backup point guard in the preseason. All 3 games in which he played more than like 9 minutes, he at least got to the 4 assist mark. And if you look at his game log, and obviously like preseason stuff isn't perfect, but if like the logic is that they're giving him extended run as a backup point guard in the preseason just to give him as many reps as possible, like that's sound logic that I can get behind. And in the 3 games, like I said, they'd actually played meaningful minutes, 4 assists in 24 minutes, 7 assists in 27 minutes, and 5 assists in 28. And his over-under is being priced like he's got the same exact role he had on the Knicks last year, where he averaged 2.7 assists per game when he was just a 3-and-D guy. Like it was really just like catch and shoot or catch and drive to the basket. It wasn't a ton more than that. And I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. The rumor was that like he wasn't super happy with his role, so he didn't hate being traded away from the Knicks. Like even though it's like, oh, they broke up the Nova Knicks. Again, I don't know if this is true or not, but the rumor was that he wanted more of a role. And then obviously we saw him talking shit to Tibbs in the preseason.
Apparently,
that was about
and I don't really get involved in the rumor stuff because who knows. But apparently, him and Josh Hart are the best of friends. I don't even want to say that because I don't know. I read something along those lines. But
okay, yeah, I know him and Brunson are boys. Like I think that Brunson was the best man at his wedding, so like they're definitely boys. But yeah, either way, even if that's not true, like I still would stand by this. That like he's going to run the second unit, and Mike Conley's not going to play a ton of minutes unless it's like a super important game and like opening night, first game of the year for older Mike Conley, who's incredibly important for the team. Like I think we'll probably get 25 to 30 minutes for DiVincenzo. I don't think it's going to be any more than 30. I think even pushing 30 is probably too much, probably closer to 25. But if it gets 25 minutes, I think he could hit at least the 4 assist number to catch the main play and then like ladder him up to 5+. Like I got that at plus 475 and I put a quarter unit on it. And that's really what it is. Like it's not based on anything that happened last year. It's not based on this being like a juicy matchup against the Lakers because I don't really know what to expect from the Lakers defense with JJ Redick. I don't know what to expect with Minnesota with like adding in Randall and DiVincenzo and taking out Cat. It's just a play that I think his role is going to be more of a facilitator as the backup point guard. And Finch said that he's looked good doing that. They're giving him the reps doing that. So it's like, again, beginning of the season, like we don't know what's real from last year and what's real from the preseason and what's not. So you kind of have to call your shot. And like I'm risking 0.75 units. So if it blows up in my face, then, I'm down 3/4 of a unit, but like I'm willing to take that risk.
You hit a bunch of these ladders last year, I remember. So maybe start out with a good one this. And it makes sense that in the game that, like Chris was saying, we probably should see here a lot of points in transition, a lot of points. Yeah, I like that Minnesota team total over, which plays into that as well. So, all right, time to talk some college football. Make sure clear their Twitter. You guys probably already know who these two guys are, but in case you don't, Chris B. Kappen, that's his Twitter right below. He has his own YouTube channel, as does Matt Modi, who just hit 14,000 subscribers and just recently got married, in case you haven't heard. But
two equally important life moments. Everybody remembers when they hit 14,000 YouTube subscribers. Everybody remembers when they get married.
We were trolling Matt in the office, like, this dude's celebrating 14K. Like, wait till 15, man. All right. So talk to you guys later. Oh, wait. Tomorrow, so we'll see you tomorrow, right? Wednesday, Matt, you'll be on. So these guys will be back. Yep, both these guys will be back tomorrow. There's like 10 games on, so tomorrow's a loaded one. Let's talk some college football.
All right, fellas. Have a good night.
See you guys.
All right, time for some college football. Tonight's games are shaky. shaky to say the least. I mean, I honestly think that this first one could be kind of cool if the quarterbacks were playing. Kind of curious to see if we have any update on. I'm sure Andy, if there is an update, Andy will have it. So we'll get these guys on the screen. Someone goes, these games stink. Yeah, you're not. This first one, I'm telling you, if you're a Conference USA fan, this could be a cool one. Sam Houston State at FIU. It's just the quarterback health on both sides. We don't know if Hunter Watson's going to play for Sam Houston State. And I think Keon Jenkins is going to play for Florida International, but he left last game with an injury. So, like, who knows if he's 100%. He's a guy that uses his mobility. Andy, can you straighten your camera out, please?
Yeah, both of these don't have... They're both
there you go.
Still like game time decisions. So.
Yeah. Yep. So first game up, Sam Houston State, Florida International. I said on YouTube last night that I would lean towards FIU +6. You could put that on the graphic, but if I'm being frank here, there's no way any of my money is going on this game with the quarterback situation. I think if Jenkins plays for FIU and Watson doesn't for Sam Houston State, that FIU would be the side to be on at home catching the points, because that Sam Houston State offense did not look good with Jace Bauer out there. And I know, Andy, I know Jace Bauer's your boy. I know you had a lot of faith in him transferring over from Central Michigan, but they didn't score a single point in the second half. Granted, there was a missed field goal in there, and I think there was a fumble as well. So it wasn't exactly that the offense was stifled, but no question, Sam Houston State's already a pretty one-dimensional offense to begin with. If you take out Hunter Watson, put in Jace Bauer, I don't trust this FIU. Yeah, well, I don't trust this. I don't trust this FIU defense. But against Sam Houston State with a backup quarterback, where they could just load the box with 8, I don't know. I think they could look okay. So this is the side I lean towards. But if I'm being honest, they're very, very seriously doubt I place a bet on this game. So what do you guys think?
Good old Conference USA. FIU only getting 4.5 at home. That's a rough sell. I mean, these are two heavy public sides tonight. One starting with Sam Houston. That's kind of expected when you see FIU losing to a winless UTEP. But if I was going to take a side, I would be Sam Houston just because FIU is just so inconsistent. But I like the over here personally. And that's with or without Hunter Watson playing. I don't think there's any word on that yet, like I just said. But Jace Bauer is definitely a capable backup. He was on Central Michigan last year, like you said.
We thought he was going to start this year.
Yeah, I think we all thought he was going to start. He played decently there. I think he can definitely take advantage of FIU's defense. UTEP sort of did. Locklear had 161 yards passing. That's great for him. With Hunter Watson out, you'd think they would, still handle the run game. Jace is a runner too. We had 10 rushing touchdowns last year. It's only averaging less than a half a yard than Hunter Watson this year. So, and really it is though. It's DJ McKinney and Ducker should get a handful of carries here. They're one of the top duos in the Conference USA. FIU got shredded on the ground against UTEP, and with FIU they're allowing the most rushing touchdowns and second most yards per carry, even when they're stacking the box. So. On the other side, FIU is still scoring 26 points a game, even with their quarterback and their inconsistency with Keon Jenkins. I'm not sure if he's going to play either, but I don't know if that's bad or not. Amari Jones might get the nod here, and John Owens is a workhorse for them. So this should be a run-first game for both teams, and there's going to be holes and lapses in both defenses, so I would take the over here.
Andy?
So I'm going to be on Sam Houston with or without Hunter Watson. From what I'm reading, it doesn't sound like he's going to play at all. But you never know how to trust some of these smaller Twitter accounts. Although if you are dedicating a Twitter to Sam Houston State football, I'll probably trust you. So it doesn't sound like Hunter Watson's going to play. But do they really need a quarterback? I mean, FIU's got one of the worst run defenses in the country, and now they're playing a team that really only wants to run the ball. And I know Hunter Watson plays a huge role in that, but Jace Bauer can run the ball. He can't throw. He looked awful throwing the ball, and the flashes that we saw at Central Michigan from that point of view, they weren't really there. But he looked good. He ran for 41 yards in the game when he came in. Against a pretty decent Western Kentucky defense, against a good team in a big spot. They didn't win, obviously, but very clear that the running game doesn't really take much of a hit when he comes out there. So, they can still do what they want to do on offense, and FIU still can't stop the run. They're not all of a sudden going to be able to stop the run. And with Jenkins banged up as well, I don't really love that for them. Their offense really needs to throw the ball because they can't run the ball at all. So yeah, I would still lean Sam Houston. Don't know if I'm going to bet it, but definitely would still be the way I lean. I think they're significantly more talented around the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to take into consideration that Watson is the leading rusher as well.
Yeah.
Perfect response, and someone said, "Who cares about the quarterback? All they do is run." Well, the quarterback is also their leading rusher. So, all right, let's move on to the next one, which is UTEP, Louisiana Tech. I'm on the under in this one. Basically, I think it's a sell high on Bullock, who's had the, I don't want to say the luck, but the good fortune of, let me pull it up. See Bullock's games here. So Bullock has started in 3 football games. They were against FIU, Middle Tennessee, and New Mexico State. Those are 3 terrible defenses. And not that UTEP's defense is anything special. In fact, they're pretty terrible against the run. They have shown us they can be capable defensively against the pass. And this Louisiana Tech offense, all they do is throw the ball. They don't really run the ball much. And when they've tried, they haven't been good at it. So the reason I'm not on UTEP is I don't trust that offense at all. I do not trust the UTEP offense at all. I think the Louisiana Tech defensive numbers are a little inflated on account of their schedule. Still don't trust UTEP to put up points. So rather than try to take a shot and take the points with a really bad UTEP offense, I think the under's the play. I got it at 50.5. Is it down to 49 now?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that 50.5. There's 48.5. Holy shit. All right. So I still like it. I like a low-scoring game. Obviously, I like my 50.5 better. But yeah, I like the under in this one. I think UTEP's going to surprise some people defensively and put out a good effort here. But on the offensive side, I don't. This UTEP team is not very good at all. So what do you guys think?
I actually bet this yesterday. I got under 50. I love the under this here. I don't see how you play anything but the under. If you're playing a side, this is the other heavy public side. That's Louisiana Tech. Again, obvious reasons. But UTEP may have won the last game, but they had an offensive point explosion of 30. I don't think you'll see that here. Louisiana Tech, I think, shuts them down. I mentioned it briefly before, but Skylar Locklear is not the answer for UTEP. I think he gets absolutely destroyed by Louisiana Tech's defense. Yes, the same defense who gave up 33 to New Mexico State, but to be fair, 9 of those were in overtime. But it's to a point of what I said a couple weeks ago. This team doesn't have an offense. They rely on a defense who has the best rushing defense in the Conference USA, giving up 104 yards a game. Their offense relies on their pass game, which is 43rd in yards per game. But that's actually what UTEP does well, is defend the pass. If there is one thing they're doing well, is it's defending the pass. So not only that, but UTEP is they're leading the league. They're leading Conference USA in sacks. And Louisiana Tech's has a garbage offensive line to protect Evan Bullock. So, and like you said, they haven't played anyone. They played 3 of the worst. He's played 3 of the worst defenses in Conference USA. So I just think this total is way too much for 2 teams that actually rely on their defense more. So I definitely love the under in this game.
Yeah, whoops. Sorry, I got to. Why do I hear myself? Oh, never mind. Fixed it. So, yeah, my overall thought on Louisiana Tech is that they're inflated to the maximum, and people are a little unfamiliar with Sonny Cumbie and may not have watched last year. There was a lot of hype surrounding the Louisiana Tech team last year, and they were terrible. So a lot of their numbers make it look like this Louisiana Tech team looks really good. And I mean, FIU held them to 10 points. I don't trust Sonny Cumbie at all. In fact, if there wasn't for a couple games earlier in this year, Sonny Cumbie might be out of a job right now. I would argue he's still on the hot seat, right? I mean,
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So there's this kind of like you can see the line opened at 7.5. It's like this whole the Louisiana Tech team as a whole is very overhyped right now. I think people think this team is good. It's not at all. The problem is UTEP is just so bad as well, especially offensively. So.
I will say this for Louisiana Tech. I've been not buying in on the defensive numbers. I still don't buy in on the defensive numbers. If you look at the success rates the last 2 weeks running the football against them, Middle Tennessee had a 52% success rate. Now, they couldn't really try to run the ball much because they were getting killed, but they were successful when they tried it. And then last week, New Mexico State, we talked about New Mexico State. That team is a disaster. They had a 48% success rate running the ball. And they actually had the best passing game against Louisiana Tech to this point with 7 yards per attempt, which for New Mexico State might as well be a historic event for them. They hit 7 yards per attempt. But it's coming for Louisiana Tech. After this game, they have the following schedule. Sam Houston State, that's a road game. That's a brutal matchup. Then they play Jacksonville State. That's not an easy one. It's tricky. It's a team that wants to run the ball. They're very bad run defense.
Their offense right now is hard to deal with.
Then they play Western Kentucky and Arkansas. So this is a brutal schedule following this game. So this could be a little bit of a look ahead for this team because you have to survive this one. Because after this, you have a lot of tough games coming up. Sonny Cumbie knows that. I'm going to guess that this team isn't looking ahead, but I just wanted to mention that if you buy into that stuff, they're about as big of a look-ahead spot this week as anybody in college football because they're staring down the barrel of a gun that's going to kill them. They're going to be bad toward the end of the season, so this is a bad spot for them. But I think they match up well, right? UTEP can't run the ball. I just brought up these rushing statistics against them. Well, UTEP can't run the ball. Teams aren't throwing on La Tech. So I'm going to lean La Tech because I do think the matchup is good for them. But I will say that in the coming weeks, we are most likely going to be betting against Louisiana Tech a lot. This team is going to be playing a lot of tough games.
Now that it's under 7, I would agree with you on Louisiana Tech. Now that it's under 7, final score 26-13 La Tech. But yeah, I'm on the under. All right, do we want to do a community top bet with the 4 games real quick, and we'll call it? Do a community vote. So the community liked the Celtics -5.5, and they liked the Timberwolves -1, and then they liked the 2 public college sides, which was Louisiana Tech -6.5, and they love Sam Houston.
Also, I was pumped for the Knicks, and then you guys just made me feel sad.
Sam Houston -4.5, and then Louisiana Tech -6.5. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the Knicks.
I mean, I'm pumped. I
didn't fade the Knicks, but
the Bridges jump shot makes me a little nervous.
Have you
I'm not
seen
worried
it?
about the jump shot.
I am. I've seen it.
Yeah, he's fine. He's about to go out there and go 8 for 12.
Oh, that'd be great. And the community just makes me feel sad right now too. Apparently, according to the vote.
What, are they voting Celtics?
Yeah.
I mean,
Really, guys?
Somebody-
After all we've been through. You guys don't remember the run, second half of the season, the playoff run? Wow.
there is no championship hangover.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 years.
Mr. Boston over here.
The team that has won the NBA championship in the last 3 years is 3-0 straight up and 3-0 against the spread in the opener.
I saw that.
So, I mean, the championship hangover thing has not been real in the NBA. And I don't even think that's real in the NFL either. I think it's the Super Bowl loser. Isn't it the Super Bowl loser that has... I'm pretty sure it's the team that loses the Super Bowl.
so.
Is
Anyone that doesn't play against Mahomes probably loses.
but then the Jets are an even bigger fucking loser and they lost. So there's that.
Yeah, the Jets broke that trend by getting their asses kicked. All right, so the community top bet is Boston -6 because they don't believe. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. A lot going on tomorrow. There's like 10 NBA games. Oh, no, World Series starts on Friday. Why did I think it was tomorrow? So no, there's 10 NBA games, 2 more college football games. So it'll be NBA and college football. Same thing tomorrow, but obviously there's a lot of NBA, so it'll be a little bit longer. Same time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Same as always, I'll be uploading stuff tonight, handicapping videos for NBA and college football. Everyone, be sure to bet responsibly tonight. If you want to get into the betting league, new week starts right now. You got 2.5 hours to submit your picks if you're trying to get in on this week of the betting league. 7 p.m. Eastern time is the deadline.